Man, all things that are about to be this recap of Flight Club. I put up a post and I got a lot of people asking me, what, where is it going to be next year? And I try to tell everybody the same thing. You never know when the last one is going to be the last one. You never know if we will get it back, if I'll be able to do it again. Um, it's it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it, and I'm just so grateful for the community that's allowed me to put it on. You know what I do know is that we if I do it, it won't be back in Maricopa. Um, I'm not sure. I think there's some things that just need to be restructured with it. Um, I just think that there's some things that need to be restructured with it, and it's been a blast, and it's really given me an opportunity to give back because I know everybody thinks like, oh man, Chili, he takes in all this money, and he really profits off this. You know, there's a handful of schools that you can ask about it and talk to them, and they'll tell you like, well, mathematically, I don't know if that really works, but all you math majors out there, all you smart people, like I think that you can figure it out. Between the NIL, between some of the people that I do take care of on the side, um, the belts alone, the awards alone of it, and the big donation give back and stuff like that. Like, I think the common sense just points to, well, hey, um, he probably is giving back as much as he says. It's been absolutely amazing. It's been an amazing 5 events, 5 days over the past 5 years, being in Maricopa, getting the likes of folks from Rivals, the local guys, the local media that's come out, the folks from 24/7. I do want to shout them out, Taboo or whatever, right? Blair, he's made it out there to, I want to say, four of them. Four of them. So shout out to him. Brandon Huffman even made it out to one, last year, and it's been cool. Hey, yeah, shout out to Cody, my guy Cody. I know that he put on a girls event this year, and look to him. He might be one that takes something like this over and builds something, way cooler, way bigger, with way more resources. He does all the camps and things like that, and has a lot of connections that might make for a better event. Listen, I am not above thinking that anybody can. I'm not above thinking that anybody can put this thing together and make this thing cook. I'm grateful, like I said, I'm grateful for the community that believed in me, and I'm grateful for the ones that didn't. I'm grateful for the ones that didn't. We expanded into a Rising Stars version, a Make Your Name Monday version, girls version. But with that said, I know people are kind of curious, what are we going to talk about on this show? Obviously, it's going to be Flight Club related. Shout out to Coach Taylor. There's nothing like Flight Club, participating in Girls Flight Club the back-to-back years. And shout out to the Miranda girls and the homegirl Malaysia Roebuck, with the MVP award this year and taking home another pink championship belt. But listen, there's only one way to sum this thing up and recap this thing the right way. And I know it's going to make a lot of people mad and give a lot of people some stuff to talk about, as if there wasn't enough. So I am going to go ahead and bring on a very, very special guest who, like I said, knows a little bit about Flight Club, the culture of it, how cool it is, and let's go ahead and give people something to talk about. The one and only, the guy that has actually held Arizona down in terms of the recruiting rankings, stuff like that, on the 24/7 side. My guy, the one, the only, Blair Angulo, going to join me for something really, really special that we really, really hope pops for everybody, even though a lot of people are going to be upset with it. Chili, what are you doing? How do we make this thing work? Is this really happening? And are we in a multiverse? Blair Angulo, hey, listen, Nobody understands maybe the culture of what Flight Club has started out as and then become maybe better than you. You've seen a lot of sevens events around the country. You've been to a lot of cool events for the kids, giving them platforms and stuff like that. A couple words about Flight Club from your perspective, what you've seen, how it's grown, and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's really evolved. It's one of the tournaments that I look forward to the most because there's action all over the field, right? We were kind of talking about the fact that it's difficult to keep an eye on everything. When you've got 8 different fields, that means that 16 different teams are playing at once. And as much as we want to be everywhere at once and see as many people and players as we can, it's very impossible. Then you tack on the heat factor. Chile, I was like begging you for water, I think, for half the time that I was out there. I think what was the time, like 7 o'clock, where I'm like, hey man, I gotta tap out. You're like, nope, you can't. You dragged me over the tent. I got rehydrated. I got fed, and then I was there for another few hours. But I think it's really refreshing to see an event like this where players are there to compete and players are there to get better. And from a high school standpoint, I think it catapults players into this break that they have here for the next few weeks, and then heading into summer ball. I think it's a glimpse of what they can expect, and maybe what they can prepare for and what they can start getting better at. I always like it as a barometer. Like, we're able to see some of these players in the spring. We're able to see them in the off season, club 7-on-7 and in the camps and the showcases. But then to see them in their own high school environment with their teammates, see how they respond to adversity, see how they bounce back from a bad rep, see how they pick up other teammates, right? I think those are all valuable things that we take into account, and I think that's what makes this event so special.
Yo, dude, I gotta ask you something. I am an absolute Star Wars junkie. Is that a stormtrooper helmet in your background? Do you have some
It
Funko
is.
Pops? Man,
I do.
my man's a
I do.
hypey. This stuff I actually didn't know, and like we spend a lot of time together out on the
I
campsite,
do,
things
and
like
I
that.
got
So
a
that's
bunch of helmets up there too,
whoa,
like
that's
mini
crazy.
helmets.
Yeah, yeah,
I got
actual football
I
helmet.
got
So
like more. I got like more over there. But no, this one here, my wife actually got at
that's
it's
lit.
e- it's either at Disneyland or California Adventure, but it comes with popcorn. It's like one of those
Oh,
popcorn
what?
buckets. So
That's
like
legit.
it's a
Is that
helmet.
is that a Labubu back there? Do you have a
Yeah.
Labubu?
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh, my God, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, who would have thought? All right, listen, hey, I know that your schedule's super busy, so we're gonna kind of get right into this, explain some things. What me and Blair decided to do, in conversation a little bit before Flight Club, during Flight Club, and we're trying to figure out the dynamics and the parameters of how this was gonna work, was we decided that we were going to create an all Flight Club team, but me and Blair can never agree on really anything that has to do with evaluating like football players and talent. So I have to have my own team, and Blair has to have his own team, but we can't share any of the players. The only fair way to do this is we draft these guys. We draft these guys. Okay, Blair. So what we decided to do was we were going to draft approximately 15, 16 players and fill out 7 offensive, 7 defensive, and 2 quarterbacks because they have to snap the ball to each other and stuff like that. Listen, so for all you coaches, teams, players that wonder, hey, why do we go to Flight Club versus some of these other events? This is why. You want to get evaluated, you want to get seen, you want to be seen by the right people, you want to get your name out there, exposure, all that stuff, the right exposure. This is why. This is what your booster clubs are kind of paying for and stuff like that. So Blair, being a gentleman, said, hey, look, Flight Club, that's Chili Singh. It's his brand. So I'm going to go ahead and prove that he knows more than me. And he said, Chili, you know what? You get the first pick. You get the first pick. And me being like, oh, man, give me the first pick. I'm going to run away with this. No. Blair says, you get the first pick, but we're going to snake this draft all the way through. So you're going to get the first pick, but then I'm going to get back to back. And then you're going to get back to back. And then I'm going to get back. And then so on and so forth. So there's been a lot of deliberating. Who am I gonna? And I did not. I was not gonna just allow my guy Blair to know exactly who I was picking first. So with the first pick in this first ever Flight Club draft, if you will, and I'm gonna try to make sure that I keep a little ticker at the bottom. I am gonna take Chandler athlete Jai Jones, who before Golden Ticket Jai Jones, the best football playing athlete in the state of Arizona. I've talked to him before on the show, talked to him last week during the selection show. Absolutely phenomenal two-way guy, wide receiver, defensive back, played wide receiver mostly for Chandler last year, but absolutely did his thing. I did not see a pass thrown his way while I was observing Chandler for the few games that I did get to see the pieces. I love what Wisdom is doing with him. I think that this kid is absolutely spectacular. Golden Ticket Jai Jones from Chandler with the number 1 pick. Blair officially on the clock.
I love that pick. He's one of the most competitive players I've watched all offseason and through the last couple years. And I actually joked with him a few months ago at the All 22 out in Southern California. I'm like, hey, Jai, it's okay to smile from time to time, right? Like
all business.
Yeah, you could have a little fun out here, man. And so no, that's a great pick. I thought he was really, really good throughout the tournament. I will go with the 2. Give me Jaden Baldwin, the speedster from Basha. I really like his game. I think he's electric as a route runner. And when I'm trying to build a 7-on-7 team, I need someone that's going to be able to get open, that's going to be able to stretch the field, that's going to blow past the secondary, get into that third level, and then open up some windows for my quarterback. So I think Jaden Baldwin is exactly that, right? From a skill set standpoint, as well with his traits. And with my third pick, I'm going to go with Cale Snyder at quarterback. I thought he was. It's difficult, right? Because he didn't win the tournament. That would have gone over to Brody Vares from Chandler, Basha. But for me, not only am I building a team that I think can win me a 7-on-7 tournament, but I think I'm also in a way in the projection business. So I have to go long-term play here as well. And I think Kale checks all the boxes. I was actually talking to Coach Ortiz before a game on Saturday, and I'm like, hey, like this is a quarterback who I think has some of the best touch and some of the best feel that I've seen from a quarterback in quite a while, especially in the state of Arizona, especially for him having 2 more seasons of high school football. Another player who has a golden ticket, you mentioned that. It's pretty significant and noteworthy, right, that ASU would throw out a quarterback offer, considering what we've seen from Kenny Dillingham and that whole offense. And for them to hand select Cale Snyder as the 1 in the 27 class to have a golden ticket kind of speaks volumes. I thought he was really good on Saturday, and I think the best football is still ahead of him because he's got that sort of arm talent, as well as the vision, the feel, and just kind of the makeup that you really like from a quarterback.
Man, I've been watching both of those kids that you took, since their freshman year when they weren't even playing varsity and stuff like that. Jaden Baldwin's absolutely special. I love his length, love the way he moves. Cale Snyder is an absolute dog, already looks the part. He's going to be phenomenal. I see you're trying to build a team for 7 years down the line when these guys graduate, like when they're in the NFL, and how will this shake out when we reassess it all? But man, that makes my job a little bit tougher. But
I think you might. So yeah, like just looking at some of the guys that I want to pick, like I think a lot of the guys that I have on here are long-term plays, and so I'm getting a feeling like you're gonna draft guys that are gonna beat me next week, and I'm gonna draft a team that's gonna beat you in like a couple of years.
Look, my teams, when I do this type of stuff, my teams usually are able to stand the test of time. My man Cody will tell you one time we had to do this thing for Arizona varsity and stuff like that. And my team, if you look back on it now, my team was really like that. But anyways, I got some things that I think can work here. I like what you've left me with, and there's a whole bunch of talent on the board. With my next pick, the 4th pick, I'm going to take another golden ticket kid. super talented wide receiver all the way from the west side, none other than Zarek Sidney, a wide receiver from Desert Edge, super talented kid, can absolutely move and shake with the best of them. Mr. Lose, your favorite defensive back at any point in time in the game. Absolutely going to cook DBs. And then, since we're on the snake mode right now, with my fifth pick, I'm going to go ahead and take another golden ticket kid. I'm grabbing Noah Roberts from Basha, from Champion Basha, because it just makes sense. I got to have a running back that can come out of the backfield and get loose. And also, just in case, since we only have 7 offensive, 7 defensive, I might need to have a guy that can play some linebacker too. But I'm going to take Noah Roberts, the speedster from Basha, Mr. 372 offers, getting NFL offers already. This kid is absolutely special, absolutely electric. We saw him at Mission Viejo when he absolutely did damage and had dinner plate eyes on every analyst and scout that was there, not limited to the Alabama guy. So go ahead and give me Noah Roberts at number 5. And I know you love both of these guys, Blair. Go ahead and say it.
Best running back in the state of Arizona since Bijan Robinson, who turned out to be a pretty decent player himself, right? And we did see Noah. We saw the Texas gloves that you were wearing, so that's something that we can kind of keep an eye on as well. A recent visit and those orange gloves kind of looked good in his hands. I'm gonna go. So I've got 2 offensive guys already on the squad. I need to start building my defense. All the golden ticket skill players are gone, right? That's 4 that are already taken. Yep. I'm sorry, you don't have any more golden guys. You have no more golden tickets to go after. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go with Hamisi Juma, the 2026 defensive back from Chandler. Can fill a variety of roles. This is 7-on-7, so I'm gonna need a player that can do a little bit of everything. If I need him to cover, if I need him to kind of play a free safety role, maybe creep into the box, play a little nickel, and cover a tight end. I think he has the size to be able to do that. Gives me a lot of versatility. So I make him my number 1 defensive player in this draft. And then I need a guy on the boundary, a corner. Give me Michael Davis from Desert Edge. So he's off the board, a 2027 defensive back who I think is just still scratching the surface of his potential. Gets to go up against guys like Zarek Sidney in practice every day, and I think he's going to continue to get better. I also liked kind of what we saw from him Saturday.
Man, Michael Davis is probably one of my favorite corners in the state of Arizona. I absolutely love his footwork. Hamisi Juma, with his length and stuff like that, I think that he's absolutely special. I remember watching his older brother play ball, and they got a younger one too. So we're going to be having to get familiar and stay familiar with that name over there at Chandler too. Look, I feel like football, it's a copycat thing, and I see you trying to, make a run on these DBs. I'm going to have to probably do a little bit of the same, and go ahead and give me with the 8th pick. I'm going to go ahead and finish this round out with Higley's own Nasim, the Nightmare Eason. He's absolutely giving wide receivers fits. Tough kid, a legacy guy, Nidrell's little brother. This kid's absolutely special. Got the length, can flip those hips and really run with any defensive with any wide receiver out there. I think that he's one of the super special defensive backs in the state of Arizona. So I'm going to go ahead and take Nasim Eason at number 8 from Higley, and then. Man, I'm gonna have to shore this thing up. And who do I like? I like who I like breaking in next round. Let's start it up. Number 9, I'm gonna take a defensive back out of Cesar Chavez, Tyvis Spencer. I think that this kid was absolutely electric at Flight Club. Did a good job running with the receivers. I saw him actually running the route with the receiver, staying right on his pocket. Probably could have told us how much change he had in that thing. So shout out to Tyvis Spencer, the next member of Team Chili, and we're gonna get this thing cracking. But Nasim Eason, Tyvis Spencer off the board. My secondary is coming along just fine, Blair.
Okay, well, I got something for you. I'm going to get a receiver that's going to give them a lot of issues. And with my 5th pick, I'm going to go with Dante Tyson from Peoria, another 2027 with a bright future. We touched on Noah Roberts have a billion offers. Dante Tyson's right behind him. with schools from all over the country chasing him. You look at him, chiseled, physically already there. Just has to be a little bit more consistency. But with my coaching, I think I'm going to take him to the next level. He's a special playmaker,
He
and it's
is.
tough. It's tough because I imagine maybe what he could do in an offense like a Basho, like a Chandler, like a Perry, right? Where I think whenever I watched Peoria, that he was getting double teamed, right? Like I think
Yeah.
everyone understands that they're trying to take him away, from making plays. But I think he's got kind of a level head. He's been able to kind of stay competitive, and I really like that about him over the weekend. Give me with my sixth pick, I'm going to go with Jalen Easterling Flores, the 2028 safety, also from Desert Edge. So a nice little run here on Desert Edge players. I know Coach Henry over at DE is super high on this kid. Incredible traits, long, physical. Saw him last year, Chile. This is the first time
Yeah.
I met him was last summer as a heading into what would be his freshman year. And he was out there kind of just running with the young squad. And he's really made strides in his game. I'm excited to see what he's going to do in that secondary in pads because you got Davis, you got Cam Hamil, you've got Nikkei Lambeth, and also in that secondary. And I think Easterling Flores has a chance to be special.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think that he reminds me of this kid that I saw over in Georgia that played for Buford. Name is just losing me right now. Super long linebacker that was taking care of business. I believe he's a Georgia commit actually, but super special kid. I think Jalen is going to be on the defensive side of the ball, causing havoc. Funny thing that you were talking about Dante Tyson really just looking the part. Coach Baylor Rasul popped up over at Flight Club. Coaches with the Raiders, and he saw Dante Tyson. He's like, "Yo, that guy looks like he's ready to be drafted tomorrow." He really does look the part. Really special kid. So I like what you're doing there. Putting me in an interesting situation. But I think my wealth of knowledge with a lot of these Arizona kids and the teams and what they got going on is gonna end up being more successful. Coach Chili over here going to make this thing cook. And let me go ahead and break this one out on you, Blair. I think that I'm going to go ahead and take from one of the teams that was shocking the world, straight from McClintock. Give me Jesus Otero, a.k.a. Juice. And if you watched him on the live stream, my man was getting loose out there, just shredding the secondary, running by DBs. This kid can really make plays in the open field, just running by defensive backs, running underneath the ball. I think that this kid is absolutely special, and I think that Coach O and Coach Lanza, they're super excited about him. So go ahead and give me Jesus Otero, Juice from McClintock, super talented wide receiver, and then with my next pick, I'm going to take straight out of Tempe. I'm going to grab one Jaden Chavez, a linebacker, first linebacker, I believe, off the board. This kid was phenomenal in getting Tempe to an unprecedented Final Four. This team was 6-0 rolling into that Basha game. The Basha game didn't go quite the way that they wanted, but blue collar guys, hard workers, and these guys were putting in the work. So I want to show these guys some love. Often overlooked, but not by me. So I know these guys are gonna, spat up them cleats and give Blair fits. Give them those 3 stars, Blair. Give them what they deserve. Jesus Otero, Jaden Chavez, McClintock, and Tempe officially taken.
Okay, I like it. I'm gonna keep building my secondary to try to stop some of those guys that you keep mentioning. Um, Give me Jaden Wiseman from Saguaro,
Oh,
and that's another player that I think is super versatile in a 7-on-7 setting. Has the size to even play some linebacker. I might go with the Tucson Turf train of thought and just play 7 like defensive backs and not have a single linebacker out there. I like Jaden
man.
Wiseman at Saguaro. And then with my next pick, give me Mekhi Hodge. How do you pronounce his
Okay.
first name?
I think it's Mackay. I think it's
It's
Mackay.
Mackay, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Mackay Hodge, tight end, who was at Cesar Chavez, but is now at Mountain Point. And he was getting loose over the middle of the field, and could also play a little defense at the next level. So I like the versatility there to potentially give me some help on at linebacker, but I'll slot him in at tight end for my offense.
Okay. Okay. Listen, I like Makai. I think that he's super talented. I got to watch him at some camps. Good hands, solid little route runner. I know that he wants to get some offensive reps. I love him on defense. So, and Jaden Wiseman, long kid over there. Me and you have been watching him for a long time. And okay, okay, I see what's going on here. I gotta make some adjustments here. Let me go ahead and stay with McClintock, the boys that shocked people and made it to that Final Four and gave Chandler fits. Let me go ahead and take athlete, defensive back, Aiden Whitaker. This is a kid that can flip around, play some wide receiver, but I love it. I love him on defense. Love his length. Love the way he moves. Can stick with receivers. Can also, high point the ball, get those 50-50s. Super talented kid from McClintock. So yeah, I'm gonna take Aiden Whitaker. And then with my next pick, I'm going to grab a long wide receiver that I think is going to be problematic for you. I think he had like 7, 8, 9 touchdowns in Flight Club for Mesa, the 6'3", 6'4", nasty wide receiver, Darius Howard. This kid's going to be problematic for your DBs. I know that he's going to give them some work, and we just putting that thing up there and making sure that, he goes get it.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. I watched Mesa a couple of games. I'm gonna switch it over to linebacker, and I'll take Eli Kramer Cronin.
Okay.
Um, I thought he was really good, kind of securing the middle of the field for Basha on their way to the championship. Clogged the middle, was bumping routes. I think he's continuing to get better, and when you pop on the tape and pads, it's a really fun highlight film where you watch it there. Just recently came off the board as well, made his commitment. With number 10, I need another receiver, and I'm going to go with Tristan Armstrong from Saguaro. So
Oh, that's tough.
slot me
I
in,
like
slot
him.
me in with him. Very versatile, can play outside, can play inside. Just a reliable pass catcher, kind of catches everything that comes his way, and I really like what he's able to do over the middle of the field. So I've got some burners that can do some stuff on the outside, like a Jaden Baldwin, like a Dante Tyson. I got a tight end who can kind of give your DB some trouble there near the goal line, and now I need a Tristan Armstrong to kind of complement everything there. So I'm feeling good about this team, Chillian. I don't you don't even have a quarterback yet. How are you supposed to beat me?
Now, hold on one second. Listen, if there's one thing that we know about this Flight Club field, there is no shortage of depth at quarterback. And I think that I'm going to be able to steal one in the later rounds that's going to create problems for you at some point. Listen, I load my team up with the athlete. This is the way 7-on-7 work, right? This is not, we don't have trench dogs that we have to worry about. We don't have to worry about getting sacked and things like that. Brody, what up, man? And we got people checking in for Gunner. Gunner is the truth at quarterback. Everybody trying to jump in and
Dude, Brody's
give me some
Brody's
help.
wondering why you haven't drafted him yet.
Hey, listen, I got some things in the works, and I might have, maybe I'm gonna make a trade down the line or something like that. But I like the direction of what we got going on right now, and I am gonna get a quarterback, and he's gonna be a very, very good quarterback. So calm down. All right. I could use another linebacker because we're gonna play some, like, we're gonna make this as realish as we can. Let me go ahead and grab a linebacker here. Who I like that I saw out there was, I really liked Gunnar Perry from Notre Dame Prep. At number 20, I'm going to take number 20 overall. I'm going to take Gunnar Perry. I liked what he was doing with that defense. He seemed to have a grip of where to be at the right times and things like that. Super special kid, talented athlete. He can also flip around, play some running back in case Golden Ticket Noah needs a spell. But give me Gunnar Perry. If your guys try to get too aggressive, Gunnar can handle that type of business. He's about that life. So with a name like Gunnar, you know what the deal is. So Gunnar Perry, Notre Dame Prep linebacker, off the board officially. And then, you know what? I need a clamp down guy. I need a guy that, shut down some of these receivers that you got and has some familiarity. You know who I'm going to take? I'm going to take from Basha. I'm going to go ahead and grab myself Trey Knox, Trey Percy Knox, who I think is one of the best, most slept on defensive backs in the state of Arizona. He was out there. Every time I saw him, he was breaking up a pass. Take your hands off of that, just making sure.
Was he the one that had that game winning deflection?
So I don't know, and I might tell you the story of why I don't exactly remember how that all went down. That happened so fast. That happened so fast. But Trey Knox is absolutely special, and I think that he's going to be great for my team and help me take care of business. And he's a winner. He's just a pure winner, and I like guys like that on my team. And give me Gunnar Perry, Trey Knox.
All right. I'm gonna keep the defensive side of the ball, and I'll take Zion Walters. I thought he was pretty good for Tempe. Another player that I think could fill a variety of roles. That can do a little bit of everything. So I want that versatility in my 7-on-7 team. And from a projection standpoint, right? I just told you earlier. I told you earlier that I want to draft a team that's going to beat you on Saturdays and on Sundays. I need a Zion Walters on my team. I think he's very projectable. I really liked what I saw out of him. With my 12th pick, I'm going to go with defensive back LeGarrette Blount Jr. Out of Mountain Point. I also liked a lot of what he was able to do in the couple games that I watched. The pride. I think he's, got a lot of special traits. He's got the bloodlines. He's a legacy, of course, and I think he's just very savvy as a football player. So I'm excited to see kind of how he develops over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I like that pick, man. I like both of them. Zion's got a lot of length, like you kind of mentioned, and projection wise, he seems like a guy that's going to be solid on Saturdays for some college. And LeGarrette Blount definitely got the bloodlines. I'm not going to say I didn't think about that, but I will say that you beat me to that one. I was hoping that I'd be able to snatch him up in the late rounds, which I know we're already getting to, but I obviously failed in doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and stay on this run with Tempe players and go ahead and give me wide receiver Mark Jackson, because I need a guy that's going to outwork your defensive backs. This is kind of a run on Tempe guys over here. Over the last few picks, we've seen Zion Walters, LeGarrette Blount Jr., and now we're going to see Mark Jackson go. This is a kid that I think a lot of us are going to be watching during the fall. Can absolutely run, make the catch, handle the contact. I like this pick for myself, and I think when we line it up on the field, I think you're going to like it too. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and let me grab from Maryvale another wide receiver. I am going to grab Julian Alafavi. This kid was absolutely special. I saw him in the Miranda game making some amazing catches. The Carters really have something special over there in this kid. Some of the catches that he made, big play, highlight real stuff, OBJ style. Definitely has a little bit of flair to him. His athlete can go both ways, but I love him at receiver. So go ahead and give me Julian Alapavi. And I think that, he's going to be giving defensive backs fits just by outworking your guys. Both of these guys tomorrow, just so you know. We're going to line this thing up tomorrow.
I like the enthusiasm that Miranda was playing with.
Okay.
That's where one of the Borghese went, right?
Yeah.
Trayson.
Well, all three of them went there, but Trenton's the only one that graduated from there. The other two transferred to South Point.
Gotcha. That's right. We had our guy Roebuck there, right? Desmond.
Yep.
Desmond was there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were fun to watch. I'm gonna go at receiver with Makai Nelson, and this is a long-term play. He's a young dude, but I think he can go up there and get the football. And he didn't look like a young kid out there with just his ability to get open. And I really liked him. The other player that I'm going to go with here, my next pick, and I hope I'm not taking one of the quarterbacks that you were going to take, but I need a backup, and I need a guy that's going to get the ball downfield, and that's Will Menzel from Chandler. I really liked him. This was the first time I was able to see him all off season. He's unfortunately not been able to make it out to some of the showcase, the camps that I was at. Right, we never crossed paths. So I was really impressed with what he's able to do, getting the ball downfield. He was very surgical. Got his
He
team to the
was.
championship. Yeah, got his team to the championship round. And I think what was interesting for me watching him from kind of behind the line of scrimmage is he puts juice on it when he needs to put juice on it. Um, he's able to put some touch when he needs to put touch. I think when he understands that, like, okay, this needs to be a line drive, he's able to kind of generate some of that arm power, right? That arm strength. And so I think he's going to be a really interesting prospect to watch this fall as a quarterback that's now expected to kind of do some things right and lead his team and I think he'll have Chandler right there in the mix of things. So I'm excited for him and I'm excited to watch kind of what he's going to be able to do. But yeah, give me Will and that gives me Kale and Will for my quarterbacks. I'm feeling pretty good. I think you obviously have a really good group to choose from
Yeah,
because
no, I do.
I mean, if it was difficult choice, right, to get a second guy, but I really like the two that I have so far.
Yeah, and you should, but it doesn't matter because it's over. We don't even need to do the draft anymore. Noah Roberts has spoken. Team Chile winning by a mile. He said by a mile. Just FYI, he said by a mile. So, Noah Roberts said by a mile. So I'm gonna go with that. But and Coach Freeman showing some love. Yes, sir. Tempe turnaround. I know he's excited to see a bunch of his Buffaloes get off the board. All right. Let's see here. This is where you figure out who did their homework, really. I like what you did over here. I think Makai Nelson's special. So I think Makai Nelson's special, and that's a tough one for me to deal with because that's another Mountain Point kid that I actually kind of wanted to take, but I will say you beat me to it. Oh man, let's see. I am going to go with. I'm going to go with. I'm going to take my quarterback right now. It is time for me to take my first quarterback, and I'm going to grab Mr. MVP himself, Big Game Brody Veers. Just so you know, the North Texas commit, this kid is an absolute monster. Listen, I have seen all these kids that we have kind of drafted since their freshman year, and in terms of trajectory and where they've gone and where they've come from, Brody's been absolutely phenomenal. His trajectory absolutely crazy, and it's still going like this or like this, whichever way. But stop going up. This kid is the real deal, and I knew that because of the wealth of talented arms in Flight Club, that I could wait and I could grab a quarterback late, since this is not the NFL and we are not drafting with 32 other people. In which case, if that was the case, I probably would have taken a quarterback way earlier. But
Yeah,
put me
for
down
sure.
for Brody Veers. And with my next pick, I am going to grab the super talented wide receiver from Chandler to continue my offensive firepower, Skylar Amita. This kid was absolutely shredding defenses all day, helped get Chandler to that championship game, and was absolutely special for your guy, Will Menzel. So those are my guys, Blair. Those are my next few picks, Brody Veers, Skylar, or Mita.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up, right? Because
No,
I've got
we
one
got we
I've got one more
got
pick. I've got one more pick. I've got 7 and 7 and a backup quarterback. So that would be 15. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna wrap my team up because I need another receiver with. I'm not gonna run I don't have a running back there. I'm just gonna bail on having a running back. You took Noel Roberts. I'm just
yeah.
gonna run empty on you. I have two quarterbacks. Give me Cash Brock. Give me Cash
Oh
Brock at
man.
receiver. I really liked what he did. Also for Basha. Um, and I guess we can kind of just keep talking about some of these other guys. There's a few others that obviously we have on the list. I mean, if you like, what do you think? Should we take another and then you take another? Like, how are we doing this?
Yeah. I'll let you grab one more. And So you took Cash Brock, and then who do you got next?
Give me. So I had Avion Williams written down here as well. Another big
Okay.
framed, intriguing body. Um, I think recently committed to North Carolina, so he's going across the country to play for Bill Belichick. And that's nothing to sneeze at, right? So
No, for
I think
sure.
he's got a bright future ahead. And can do a little bit of everything, right? If I need a breather at tight end, put him in there, or I can have him play a little defense if he needs to. I'm trying to build a team of a team with stature,
Right.
Chili.
Yeah, I actually love that pick at this point in the draft. I actually love that pick. I love both of those picks. I think that Cash Brock is phenomenal. Another kid that I've seen like forever. I love the Avion Williams pick. I think that he's absolutely special. To get him here with your last pick, I think is beyond impressive. My man Blair did do his homework. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this out. I got to draft a backup quarterback, obviously. I'm gonna go ahead and take Marcel Jones from Saguaro. This is a kid that both of us really like, and this was a talented field. I know that Saguaro didn't really get the dubs in Flight Club that they wanted, but this is a super talented athlete that can do a whole bunch of things and can really open things up and be problematic. And if we're looking down the line, it's about projections a little bit. So the speedster can make things work. Go ahead and give me Marcel Jones from Saguaro. I'll take him with my last pick, and that'll kind of round this thing out. You want to get into talking about a few of the guys that we had kind of mentioned just in passing. I'll let you kick some of that off.
Yeah, just to tack on to the Marcel Jones, I thought he was really, really good in the couple games that I watched. I think from a delivery standpoint, it's really nice. Like he's got a really good base, and he looks physically stronger, looks athletic, can make throws on the run. And I thought he was very accurate. He was kind of unlucky for some of his receivers not to come down with the football in some crucial moments. I thought Saguaro could have made a run, and I thought Marcel was making plays. A couple other quarterbacks that really stood out to us were Blake Roscoff over at Desert Edge. He's a big armed kid. Passes the eye test, has all the tools and the traits that you would want at the position. And with 2 more seasons of high school football, I'm excited to kind of see what he puts together on film this fall, because there's definite 4-star potential there, I think. The other quarterback that I think just immediately pops out when you walk out there was Dane Silver from Eastmark. And I kind of
Long.
looked
The
at him.
kid
I'm
is
like,
long.
I told Dane, I'm like, Dane, how much have you grown since last year? Because I saw you at this thing. I think he
Jesus.
said he's about 6'5" now. And I'm I'm like, okay, you still have 3 more seasons of high school football. Like, what are you going to look like as a high school or as a college freshman, right? So, he might outgrow quarterback. We don't know, right? But like, I think he's athletic enough to be able to do basically anything that he wants to on a football field.
What's the tallest quarterback that you've ever evaluated, though? There's been some that have been like 6'6" and so forth. There was the
Yeah,
kid
like
from
that.
Kansas
That's pretty
State or
much it,
whatever.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
like that's and then what Brock Osweiler was probably
yeah,
maybe the
like
biggest
6'8".
quarterback that had some success and got drafted and all that. So
He won a Super
so
Bowl.
he did. He
He
did.
did win a
It's
Super
it's
Bowl.
a
Yeah.
little so yeah, but it is one of those things where you're like, okay, how big are you gonna get? And so he's got some juice to him, though. I really like his game. The
Hey,
the
and
Higley quarterback, the Higley
Gun-
quarterback was really good.
Gunnar
Um,
McGraw.
Gunner, yeah, Gunner was really good. I think, um, you know, I was talking to Coach Zuby, and he kind of reminded me that I actually saw him last spring when we went to go see Luke Haugo,
Yeah.
who was about to commit to Arizona at the time, and we were there to evaluate him. And yeah, like I ended up going back into my camera, and I found a bunch of photos that I had seen of Gunner, and it kind of reminded me like, oh, we actually liked this kid last spring. Went back, watched the tape, so he's got a new rating now on his profile off of what we saw on Saturday at Flight Club, and so that was very valuable for us to kind of see him. And he's got a Cornell offer. I think he's a player that can really do some nice things
And
this fall, and
and
he'll rise, I think.
he's done a great job of like transforming his body, really hitting the gym and stuff. And he's made a point in certain opportunities to make sure that, hey, look, you know what? I'm gonna take my shirt off and make sure that these guys know that I'm built like that. And I love that. Listen, sometimes you got to do those little things to make sure that people see some things about you. So I love that he would do that sometimes. To show some of the scouts and analysts that like, yo, he's put together. He's not schlubby or whatever. So another kid that we both love, Christian Escobedo, the quarterback for Mountain Point. Nice little release, slick pull over there. Just lets that thing go. I'll let you talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, it keeps getting bigger too. I feel
Yeah,
like I was looking down on him not too long ago, and now I'm looking up at him. So no, yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be one quarterback that we definitely keep an eye on this year in the state of Arizona. After the transfer last year into Mountain Point, had to sit out, and now it's kind of his show, right? And I'm excited because he's been able to prove that he belongs at this level, and I think could have a shot to be a D1 type of talent.
for sure.
The Yeah, like the calmness that he throws with. He's got a
Yeah,
really nice deep ball as well, and just seems kind of composed and in control of everything at all times. And that I think we're maybe seeing some of the confidence that really popped out from him when we first saw him over at Tolleson a couple years ago.
yeah. Hey, look. Also, a couple quarterbacks that I just want to make sure we mention. Isaiah Venegas from McClintock got his team to the Final Four, engineered that team to the Final Four. Also, Saul Mendez was absolutely cooking defenses from Tempe. The quarterback over there also got his team to the Final Four. Really made both of those teams a story of Flight Club. Also, Caden Schluter, the young fellow over there for Higley, and Dylan Cooper, the young fellow over there for Bachelor's Rising Stars. Both of those guys I thought were putting in some good work. And another kid, the last kid that I think that I'd like to talk about, Luke Berlin, the quarterback from Cactus, long kid. I thought he threw a nice ball. I thought he was out there putting in some good work and kind of raising eyebrows a little bit. Good size,
Yeah,
lengthy.
yeah. You actually called me over to kind of check him out for a little bit, and yeah, he definitely looks the part. You kind of you hope that he's able to put enough film together this fall because he is going to be a senior, and you kind of wonder, okay, how much runway is there? But I think there's some talent there, and I'm excited to kind of see what he's able to put out.
A couple offensive athletes I'd like to put out there also. Keegan Peterson from Higley, I thought that he was really, really good. Staying with Higley, I thought Brock Bascom was solid. Anthony Palka, quarterback kind of athlete over there doing his thing. And then from Marana, they had a wide receiver, Jackson Sharp, that was great. Cooper Conrad from Corona, Matt Friend, wide receiver from Notre Dame Prep, and then Zane Snyder, the little brother of Kale Snyder. I'm not sure if you got a chance to look at him from the Perry Rising Stars team. This kid really looks the part. Looks like he's going to be super impressive in a Perry career over there.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the young Perry team,
Okay,
but I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of the film. I know,
for sure.
the cool thing about an event like this is that there's families scattered all over the fields, right? And so you go back into your social media and you're tagged in all sorts of videos. So yeah, I'm trying to dig my way out of like the commitments that are happening right now in college football. And then once
Yeah.
I'm able to like breathe, I'm gonna be able to go back and watch some of the film. So if you're watching this and you have some tape, or if you have some videos, make sure you either tag me or Chili on social media so we go back and watch some of the action. And like I said, 16 teams playing at once, 8 different fields. That's a lot of ground to cover. So
Facts.
if we haven't talked about you, if we missed it, it's not too late. Make sure you put that out there so we can watch it.
And also, I can't not show love to defensive guys. So while I got you on, there's Jeremiah Abdul Azim from Fairfax. I thought that he was putting in some good time on the field. A linebacker from Fairfax, Corday Boyd, was special. Greg Webb, the linebacker from Marana. Jalen Johnson, the safety from Compass Prep. And Compass Prep had a couple guys. Hanif Thomas was absolutely clamping wide receivers when he was out there. Elias Tyre from Chavez, and then these athletes that were all over the place for Cactus's defense. Robert Bell Jr., Dalen Moore, and Jason Burkhardt, the linebacker there. Just wanted to make sure that I put all those guys out there. All guys that, we kind of saw in passing, got to watch them put in the work. Make sure that you, like Blair said, tag both of us at Just Chili. And I think it's now at Blair Angulo since they took away like your little blue check thing, like you were able to change your name without like losing your account and stuff like that. So Blair, listen, man, completely unprecedented that we're able to do something like this. And, since it's all about the kids and making sure that they get the love and the juice and the exposure, I really appreciate you taking the time and, risking it all to, jump on this Chili's Two Pieces special edition of Chili's Two Piece to do the first ever Just Chili's Flight Club draft to figure out the All Flight Club team. I think I'm going to create a graphic. And then we're gonna put a little, poll.
Well, we already saw a couple guys, right? No, Roberts put out there said Team Chili's winning, and for everyone that Chili did draft, just remember I was gonna draft you, but Chili beat me to it. So don't take it personal.
Hey man, Blair, I appreciate you hanging out. Up next to kind of break this whole thing down, I got Gridiron coming up next to go inside the numbers on some of these guys, what they've done in their high school career. And just so everybody's clear, like you guys can kind of take notes on how we drafted according to position. But unique to me, since I drafted Jai Jones first as a wide receiver, but being the best football playing athlete in the state of Arizona, if you notice the way I drafted, I was heavy on offense. I'm officially going to flip him over to defense. So he's going to be the 7th player on my defense. And now I'm 7-7 and 2 quarterbacks. So just want to put that out there, but see, that's thinking into the future. So that's how I did it as a GM. Blair, it's always fun comparing brain pans with you on this stuff, and I can't wait. We're gonna get the graphic, and I'm gonna probably pin it to my profile for a little bit, and then
are you gonna lay out like our positions, or are you gonna lay out like the draft order?
I'm probably gonna just lay out like my team, your team, and then just kind of run it down. And I'll let the public decide that, like, that I got them boys. Like, I'll do a poll for today and then a poll for what they think 7 years from now. Like, however you want to do it, Blair. You let me.
All right, sounds good. Let it put it out in the universe.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for coming through all these years. And I hope, if we get another one, I hope you come to that one too. Enjoy the rest of your night. That Star Wars helmet, though, like, I've been locked in on it. Like, I think it's so cool. I didn't know that you were a Star Wars junkie like that. So dude, I just think that's
I'm all over it. I'm all over it. All right, man.
All right, may the force be with you. Yep. Forks up. Y'all know the deal. Yeah, and there he is, the handsomest man in Arizona high school media. Hey, so I finally got to see you, and I gave you one of these.
Yes, you did.
Be honest.
I do endorse the Archer mango habanero beef jerky. I cracked it open there Sunday night. Started having a little bit of that. I'm already a supporter of Archer with the mini beef sticks that I eat a few times a week. So yeah, that's good stuff.
They're gonna send me a couple more bags, but I'll totally hook you up.
Gives you a little bit of heat in the back of your throat. Gives you a little bit of sweetness with the mango.
Awesome. For sure. No, definitely. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let the ticker go.
The national guy there, Blair Angulo, there, who covers the entire West out there at the Flight Club there, that I've seen multiple people this week call the Super Bowl of 7-on-7s.
Yeah. I saw that. And it's humbling. Listen, I just always wanted to create an event that would be cool, fun, exciting, and just attract everybody. It didn't really attract everybody, but I did finally get Chandler in there, so that was a success. And Bash has taken home so
I
many
know,
of
I
these
know there were
belts.
some years that conflicted with Chandler's trips to California and stuff. And
Yeah.
we will check back in the graphic in 2032 and see if the Team Chili still wins by a mile.
Oh man, I think my team's going to be okay. I think that I think where I was able to make my money on this was you having the foresight to draft a quarterback later. Take my quarterback so late, giving me the opportunity to load up on some.
He was only going to take two, so it gives you the rest of the field to choose from.
And you know what? Like I think I got more of these hardworking, deceptive athletes that will be able to kind of know that when they're called upon, put in the work and understand that hey, it might go here first. So I think the dynamics of my team are going to fit a little bit better than some of his. So that being said. Gridiron, I'm gonna let you go inside the numbers on these two teams and try to grab your opinion before I grab another person's opinion.
All right. Well, I took a look at it and I chose 4 guys from each roster, kind of at a variety of positions to kind of give a little breakdown on. We'll start with the QBs. We got Cale Snyder from Perry. He's a junior, 6'3", 215, an ASU Golden Ticket recipient. Perry went 4-2, making the quarterfinals before losing to Basha, 45-34 in what was the second highest scoring game of the tournament. Cale's stats from last season, taking over as a quarterback of Perry as a sophomore, 2,149 passing yards, 17 TDs, plus 3 rushing TDs, has 21 college offers, including ASU, Indiana, Kentucky, and Washington. Just has arm strength, accuracy. He's set for a big junior year with the Pumas after knocking Chandler off twice last year. By the way, the highest scoring game in the tournament was McClintock 45, Casagrande 38. That one had 83 total points. Then we talk about Brody Veers from Basha, 6 foot 195 senior, North Texas commit, just happened in the last couple weeks. He, of course, was the 2025 Flight Club MVP. Basha went 8-0. They scored 259 points. That's an average of 32.5 per game. They defeated Chandler in the final 27-22, scoring the winning touchdown very late in that. I think it was about 15 seconds left. His stats for last season with the Bears, his first year as a starter, 2,915 yards, 27 TDs, just 2 interceptions, and 4 rushing touchdowns. Basha did not lose a game in June. Veers has visited North Texas multiple times. He was recruited by their QB coach, Sean Brophy. Do you recall him in Arizona circles? He was class of 15 Chaparral, played at GCC back when you could go from high school to JUCO and still stay in state. And then Incarnate Word went on to play 3 seasons for them. And now he's coaching over at North Texas.
He's a stud. He's an absolutely amazing coach too. I love the philosophy of which he coaches with and the way he brings his guys up. This is a guy that does a great job of building relationships with Paul Brophy real quick. I remember covering him while he was at Chaparral.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I know that was right around the time that I think the early years of you covering the high school scene was when he was there at Shep.
Facts.
Go to a few receivers here. We'll take your top pick there, Jai Jones from Chandler. He's a junior, 6'2", 175, another ASU Golden Ticket recipient. Chandler made the championship game, of course, at Flight Club, not only at Flight Club, but also at San Diego State. His stats last year, played 6 games after transferring from Corona del Sol, so he'll have a full season with the Wolves this year. Had 29 catches, 308 yards, and a touchdown. Has 18 offers, including Arizona, Cal, Indiana, and Missouri. Just highly competitive. He could play on either side of the ball, as you mentioned. Has quickness, knows how to get open. Also not afraid to block as a receiver. And then we'll go with Jaden Baldwin from Basha, wide receiver, junior. 6'2", 165. They call him JB on the sideline there. He got his 18th offer on Sunday from Illinois State. Bash, of course, won Flight Club. They went 3-0 in tournaments in June. His stats from last season: 30 catches, 416 yards, and a TD. And then keep in mind that their top two receivers were both seniors last year. So this could be a big breakout season for him on the stat line. Has 18 offers, including ASU, Indiana, Missouri, and Pittsburgh. Very strong in track, ran a 10.78 in the 100 meters at the Red Mountain Rampage this spring. Also has a 3.5 GPA. And then Bash's wins this summer was at ASU, U of A, and of course Flight Club. Another receiver guy I got to see in person for the first time, and that was Dante Tyson from Peoria. 6'3", 185. The size was just the first thing you notice when you see him. He made the ESPN top 100 list of recruits for this class. I watched Peoria defeat Mountain Point's Rising Stars 31-0. His stats for last season with the Panthers: 45 catches, 647 yards, and 7 TDs. Has 18 offers, including Florida State, Michigan, Texas, and Arizona. Just a strong frame. He's gotten bigger since last season. Good speed, which he's working on also now that he is a little bit bigger. He can get deep and stretch the field, and he's tough to bring down once he catches it. He ran an 11.02 in the 100 meters at the Ben McIver qualifier at Glendale High School in track last season.
Man, hey, listen, real quick, there is something that I want to say about Jai Jones. I don't know how much people know, but Chandler, apparently they got into some of the kids got into an accident on the way up to Flight Club, Club. And Jai Jones had like a knot like on his head, on his like forehead. Wow. He had like a knot. And I saw him and I just wanted to make sure that he was okay. I talked to Coach Wiz and stuff like that. I wanted to make sure that he's okay. And Blair was bringing up that like the ultimate competitor and how competitive he is. I saw the knot on his head and I said, Jai, I'm not going to let you play. And he was like, no.
You were going to make him go through a concussion protocol.
Yeah. No, he had like a knot on his head. And I don't think his dad thought I was serious when I said, hey, I need to see Jai first. I need to see the kids first before I let them play. I saw a couple of them and they seemed to be okay and responsive. But I saw Jai and he had a literal knot on his head. And he's like, no, he said, Chili, you have to let me compete in this. I want to be here, compete, and I'm going to play in the last game of Flight Club tonight. And I was like,
and he did. Yeah.
And he did. And I told him, I said, okay, Jai, I'm going to let you play. But if at any point I even think that you aren't okay to play, I'm pulling you. And he's like, bet. He's like, okay, bet. Got that. No problem. And
you were keeping time. You were keeping time there in that championship.
I was keeping time.
Was it in the back of your head as you were watching them there?
So I was keeping time. And Jai stepped in a divot in the field. And I said, Jai, I was like, are you okay? And he said, it's a divot. Chili, it's a divot. And he grabbed me by my arm. I haven't been grabbed by my arm like that since my dad. He said, it's a divot. It's a divot. There's a hole there. I was like, all right. This kid wants to compete at all times. It's not just that he just wants to smoke. He wants to be out there with the best of them. He wants to show that he can, run next to Noah. He wants to show that he can cover JB. He wants to show that, he can get open versus Trey Knox. He wants to show that he can make the plays in the biggest moments and be there. So I just wanted to put that out there because some of the stuff that these kids go through and what they're willing to do to compete in an event like this, that's some of the stuff that humbles me. And I'm grateful.
Field would have been the 11th game on that field because we had 6 pool play games and then certainly the field that the championship was on was used in each round. So
yeah.
They were in good shape. It just it took a little bit of damage for all.
They were. I
We'll
mean,
look at some defense here. We'll start with Tyva Spencer from Cesar Chavez, defensive back.
love him.
He's a junior. Coach Hovick talked to me about him before the game, so he kind of tipped me off to him a little bit, and then he delivered. He's 6 foot 160. I watched him get both a pick and a touchdown catch in the same game against the Higley Rising Stars. His stats for last season: 56 tackles, an interception, and a blocked punt. Had a season high 11 tackles in a win over Mesa. And of course, last year the champions went from 3-7 to 7-4. And with Tyvus, there's just a lot of confidence and a work ethic that he has. We'll go to the linebackers here. Jaden Chavez from Tempe.
Love him. That's my guy.
Senior, 6'1", 200. And I saw that the Tempe was 3-0 in pool play when I was looking at it over at the big man. It was kind of like a whoa, and then I missed the first 2 rounds of the tournament because I was watching the big man. And then I come back and I see Tempe still going, and it just attracted me. And I was like, oh, I got to go see this. And he can play both middle linebacker and outside linebacker. Was a first team All 3A Metro East Region player last season. His stats for last season: 24 tackles and a fumble recovery. Has 3.63 GPA. He's shooting for 100 tackles this year, and he has the drive to succeed, and he's willing to do whatever it takes. Tempe went 6-1. They made the semifinals at Flight Club, and I tweeted it out during the thing, and just kind of said, this is the story of the tournament to me. This 3A team that was 1-9 2 years ago, moving up to 4A this year, and then representing, on the big stage like that. And then finally, Jaden Wiseman from Saguaro, defensive back, senior, 6'3", 195. Played both ways for the SaberCats last season. His stats: 63 tackles, an interception, 47 solo tackles. Also had 10 catches, 189 yards on offense with a touchdown. He went to the UTEP camp in June, has offers from Bowling Green, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico State, and NAU. And he played winter sevens with the Arizona Dolphins. And then also speaking of defense, we talked about Basha with the offense that they had, scoring 32 points a game. Their defense in this tournament, they allowed 69 total points, which is 8.5 points per game, and they had 4 shutouts.
Hey, that team was super impressive, super well coached, Coach Jones, and then on offense, their offensive coordinator, I think head coach of the team or whatever, since the offensive coordinator is always termed the head coach. Coach Gata did an amazing job keeping his guys calm.
During the pool play, Coach Mack was kind of roaming around. I think he was kind of helping you.
During bracket play too.
Yeah. Okay. He was helping you do stuff, and so it was during pool play that I saw Basha play the first time, and I talked to one of their other coaches after, Coach Denny, special teams coach, who was kind of helping run. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I love the job that they did. Coach Diaz was out there too, and he has so much sevens experience with Tucson turf and stuff like that. I saw the Diaz kid out there getting some work in. So Basha was ready for this and ready to handle the underdogs and anybody else that wanted to step in their way. I was super impressed with what I saw out of them, and the demeanor, the calmness that they had. When things weren't going their way, when they were struggling to get that offense rolling, the way that Brody, Gata, Noah handled the chirping and all that stuff. I was highly impressed with what was going on over there. Gridiron, just kind of looking at these 2 teams that were drafted. Are you leaning one way? And you don't have to lean my way just because you co-host a show with me.
I had kind of decided before you started the draft, I was going to lean toward whichever team had more players that I watched play on Saturday. And so I'm going to lean toward the Just Chili team by a 12-10 margin there. So
hey, I like that. 12-10 though. Sheesh, that means that I had to go for a 2-point conversion that I.
Well, that was how many? That was out of 16 players. That was where I got.
Okay. Oh, okay. I got you. All right.
I'm not saying Brody is going to get limited to 12 points, but
I was about to say
over there. So
I was about to say, my man will step on that gas pedal and really, light that thing up. But I think both teams would be super competitive.
Mhm.
I do got another guest that's going to come on and help
We gonna round
break
them
this
up. We
down a
gonna do
little
it
bit
this
further.
Saturday. One game at all.
Hey, if Blair will come back in town, I'll round people up, and I'll talk to some friends in higher places to see if I can get a turf field or a
You had
grass
Coach
field. That
Dillingham on the show there a couple weeks ago. He can get you access, right?
Yeah, I'll ask him if I can borrow Uncle Frank's field and see if we can put this game together, and that would be absolutely insane. That would be absolutely insane. Gridiron, just your thoughts on Flight Club. You've covered a handful of them now. You're the official numbers guy. It's not you don't cover a lot of sevens.
That's
Any
the only
sevens,
sevens that I went to.
yeah.
And
Well,
it
every
was,
year,
well,
I don't
even before you started doing Flight Club, I limited myself to just covering one because it's a
Okay.
different game. And everyone realizes it. It's almost a different sport than what you see on Friday nights in the fall. I mean, obviously there's benefits to it, in terms of conditioning, especially in the heat, in terms of guys doing one-on-one pass coverage and quarterbacks getting timing with receivers. A lot of teams will run different plays than you'd see them run in the fall. Obviously, it's something different other than just practicing amongst themselves or running tracks or being in the weight room. So there are benefits to it.
Okay. But just your thoughts in comparison to it just I guess kind of in relation to the culture of football here in the state of Arizona, some of your favorite moments in Flight Club, maybe revisiting some of the Flight Clubs that you've been to. I know everybody is saying that this was the greatest Flight Club of all time with Tempe and McClintock.
I did hear people after the game, so some fans say that this was the best one that they'd been to. I mean, from a time standpoint, it ran well. We started at 4, and I think for the most part, it ran on schedule. There was a couple of fields that fell behind for some reason. Because I think the last game that I saw ended at around maybe 6:45, which maybe was 15 minutes past the time.
Sounds about right.
And then in the bracket play, you worked out good. Last year you had 40 teams. So you kind of had to stagger things when you got to the bracket because we had 8 fields. And so this year with 32 fields, you had 16 games in the first round. It was easy to schedule. You have 8 and then 8. And so you have everybody playing at once. And then after the second one, you're down to exactly 16 and you have exactly 8 fields again. So it worked out well there. And I think I looked at my watch when the final game ended, and I think it was 10:57. We had one a few years ago where I think the championship game started after midnight. So
Midnight Madness. That was the year that Damon Williams and Basha also won. So
if I recall, the lights went out on that one.
At the end,
before everybody had left. It was maybe the 1 a.m. or something like that.
We were nervous. We were getting nervous.
And I was glad that I missed the one. I was traveling and missed the one that was daytime, which was the first one that you did. If anybody went outside during the day today, you can imagine what it would be. I like to be out there for 7 hours. It was one that started, I think, at 9 in the morning and didn't finish till 4 in the afternoon. And I watched the videos of everybody melting in the heat while I was in an air conditioned airplane. So
facts. That was the one that Coach Mons won, and then Coach Mons would later go on to coach tight ends over at ASU, and then Coach Amy actually coached my big men that year, and Coach Amy would go on to coach defensive line over at Idaho State, and then make his way to ASU also. So and
it was cool to see all the guys that you brought back. Grayson Stovall and a lot of the other guys that helped run the big man. I think it was 8 of them or something like that. I saw
AJ Dutch over
week,
AJ Dutch over, one of those mammoth Highland offensive linemen. Matthew Lotto from Apollo. We had a bunch of guys. Christian Badowski from Mountain Ridge, and also shout out to our guys that were holding 4-second clocks, like Andrew Zuby, Jaden Taylor, who's going off to NAU, and Brendan Anderson too, and also my soccer player Carter Cates over there,
and his dad there. I talked to them for a little bit.
and Ryan Mesa. So
Brendan goes into this season as the number 2 quarterback over at Southern Utah, and the guy who's the starter missed a bulk of time last season. So we could see Brendan Anderson competing over there at Southern Utah this year. He's still got 3 years of eligibility.
Yeah, he can really sling that thing too. All right, Gridiron. Hey, I always appreciate you. The official numbers guy at Flight Club. I only have one official numbers guy. That is the one and only Gridiron, Arizona. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Always been great for the community, and I know everybody appreciates you more than anything. So appreciate the manual bracket over there for Flight Club. Yep. And
I had pre-written out the bracket with all the numbers, and then when I was over at the right before I was in my car. That's what I did, because after the pool play ended, I knew we had a little bit of a gap, before it got started, and so I had time to walk over to my car where I had a couple of Gatorades on ice in a cooler to get me through the rest of the night. And then while I was in there, I had the air conditioning blasting and was using the Zorts app there to use as my who got what numbers. And then I just filled in all the teams. And then I think I filled it in again when I was finishing up the big man over there. And it was we were down to the round of 8, I think, is where I got that filled in. And then then I left. I went over to the Circle K right over there afterward because I was out of Gatorade by then and had to get a Coke for the road. And I realized, I forgot to tweet out the final bracket. So powered by the light of the Circle K post right in the parking lot, I managed to get the final one posted there that had it all filled out.
and we all appreciate it too. Gridiron, thank you so much for everything that you've done and helped me out with regarding Flight Club. Never know what the future holds for the event. And I tell people,
I saw your tweet there. Is this the end of Flight Club in Maricopa or the end of Flight Club, or is this undetermined?
Man. It's kind of undetermined. I think part of it is the back and forth with LA and stuff like that, and trying to make sure that this thing works. But I do want to make sure that I try to leave something for the people. So and I brought this up earlier. Like,
it is not going to be the Gridiron Flight Club next year.
There's what?
It is not going to be the Gridiron Flight Club next year.
Look! I know. Cody was in the chat a little bit earlier, and I know that he did a girls 7-on-7 event or whatever, flag tournament or whatever. It was huge. So I'm with the relationships that he has and the resources that he has available to him with fields.
I think that was the biggest girls 7-on-7 all month.
It's either that one or the U of A one. One of those two is by far the biggest. So, I think with the resources that he has, I think that he could definitely pull something like this.
He did during the day too.
Yeah, which is
you always got to do your first one during the day, right?
I've done that before, and if he ever asked me for advice on it, I would tell him, move it to the evening, start later, as late as you can. Yep. But it was wildly successful.
It was down about 7:30, so by the time the bracket play was starting, it was down.
Yeah. So, listen, Gridiron, I appreciate you so much. I do got one more guest that I'm going to bring on to kind of help me break down which team would win, Team Chili, Team Blair. We'll call it Team C, Team B, or whatever. But Gridiron, I am so grateful, and I'm going to catch up with you next week when we probably break down schedules. We're going to get back to the schedule.
We're getting to the home stretch here. It's July 1. So next month we will have games.
Yeah, and everybody better get their background checks, I guess, and fingerprint clearance cards. And
I was just trying to figure that out today. I got to get that done.
Yeah, man. Hey, we're all working on that. So I think that's one of the great things that the AIA is doing. I love the direction that.
I wish they'd come out with it a little earlier, but
facts that would be a little bit helpful. Hopefully they are going to, kind of with some of us that have been doing this for a long time, I guess, give us a little leeway in terms of waiting for things to come back. But you never know, and however they want to handle it, like, I'm going to support that because I think that's the right way to do it. And I like this. I like this as a first step to figure out the new direction of how the sidelines are going to be managed. Gridiron, I'm going to catch up with you soon. We definitely got to grab lunch.
All right.
Maybe the Falcons again. Me and
Yeah.
Adam went there and almost went
Good
into a
stuff.
coma. So I'm gonna maybe we'll talk about that a little bit in a second here because I do got the young creative, my guy
I was gonna say, I
Adam
hope
Beadle.
Beadle's the one breaking these down.
Yeah, and
All
I
right.
can't wait. I'm gonna leave the teams. I'm gonna leave the teams rolling at the bottom, but I'm gonna say goodbye to my guy Gridiron. Till next week. Till next week, Gridiron. I will catch you later. All right.
We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you next week.
From the official numbers guy to the official host, Flight Club, the one and only the young creative Adam Beadle, doing a lot of cool things out and about. Has put his feet on the soil of a lot of campuses and seen a lot of football. At the bottom,
we got a lot of food at the Falcos.
Oh my God, that was seriously like too much. That was like 2 days worth of food.
Oh.
At the bottom, you can see the teams that me and Blair drafted. You've had a few moments here to listen to Gridiron, break down some numbers, and do some of your own research, some of your own Sham Charania, Adam Schefter type of research, your own Mel Kiper type stuff to try to figure out which of these teams would be better. Maybe you have story form. Maybe you want to just break it down offense versus defense, offense versus offense, whatever. I'm just curious about your thoughts here. Initially just kind of looking at these two teams.
I was honestly super surprised that Blair took Jaden Baldwin as his first pick. But I'm not mad about it. I love it. I think it's a great pick. And, I agree that I think, someday future Saturdays and Sundays, Blair's team's probably going to have the advantage. And Chili's team, if you put them on the field, would definitely probably win tomorrow. I was really hoping that I think it was your fifth pick that you were going to pick Noah. I was thinking, no way Noah slips after the first two rounds. Like, there's no way he drops that far. So I'm glad you took Noah when you did. But there's some dudes on here I think that were kind of steals. I think that Makai Nelson, a pick Blair took really late, honestly, is kind of a steal. Jesus Otero, I mean, this guy was just tearing it up, literally. Was going crazy. He had multiple touchdowns in the game I watched. Trey Knox, he has been a guy that's been turning up all summer, but I think he really had his best performance in Flight Club. It was interesting to watch Jai Jones play both sides of the ball. I don't think I've really seen a lot of that. I know that he can do it, and I know that he's done it in the past, but it's not something I've seen a lot of. So I thought that was really unique, and I'm interested to see if Chandler does that a bit more this season. Let's see some of the other guys. Obviously, Brody Veers, the MVP. Mark Jackson. Let's talk about Mark Jackson. This is a guy that I think will kind of be the key playmaker for Tempe this season, making that jump from 3A to 4A.
Hey, Adam, I got a question. Tempe, McClintock, not so much on the menu traditionally. I know that Jackson Knutson and them did some magical things and had a magical run last year, but typically not on the menu for a lot of analysts, a lot of sports reporters and things like that. Did their performances at Flight Club kind of have you reevaluate how you're going to set up your schedule with Thursday games now and things like that? Like maybe maybe I do got to catch Tempe playing, or maybe I do got to catch this McClintock game here instead of this other game there.
Yeah, and there's been a couple years past where it's kind of lined up that Valley Christian and Tempe have played each other week one, and that has usually been my all right, I'm going to go see my guy Jake Peterson, and I'm going to go see Tempe ball out. And that's kind of been my game. And so now that they're in 4A.
Sean Freeman's not your guy?
Sean Freeman's absolutely my guy.
Coach Freeman's not your guy?
Coach Freeman's absolutely my guy. I 100% am into the Tempe turnaround, 100%.
Like it.
And I was actually thinking, watching the show, I really think that Tempe is going to benefit from making the move up. I think it's going to force them to play harder. I think it's going to force them to, drop some new stuff offensively, look at some stuff differently defensively. And I think it's really going to make them a better, more physical, faster football team. So I'm really excited to see how they compete with these other teams in 4A. McClintock was a team. I think they were missing a couple of guys because they had a couple of their incoming freshmen at OT7, which, by the way, Kaiden, their incoming freshman quarterback, was lighting it up with low pro at OT7. He went in for like 2 drives and went 2 for 2 and 2 touchdowns. So,
Wow.
I'm really excited to see what his development is going to look like. But I was like, I was questionable on McClintock because I knew they were going to be missing some guys. I was like, I have had high expectations, and I've seen them play really well at ASU and at U of A. And I was really not expecting them to go on one that they went on. I do have McClintock somewhere on my schedule, I think in October. I don't remember off the top of my head. I got to go back and check, but I do know that I will be making it out to McClintock game. I'm really excited about what Coach O is doing. And I really like just the culture that he's brought in and the people and the players too. I think that they are going to write a really long success story.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Between the two offenses, between me and Blair, which one do you actually like better? Which one to you says like, oh, this one's really gonna light the scoreboard up, really make things pop?
It's so tough because Blair didn't draft a running back. So, he didn't take a running back, but he took a tight end, which was, you take a guy in Avion Williams is a guy that is a beast on both sides of the ball. And, I feel like I look at your offense, and the one thing that goes in my head is, okay, this is a fast offense. This is speed. Like, you are going to beat people with speed. And I think Blair's offense he's going to get a little bit more, sort of technique wise with you. He's going to try to draw up some more complicated play designs. And, obviously talking about a guy in Cale Snyder. I've said this, he looks night and day from how he did at the end of last season to how he's looked in sevens. And I know you can't really compare those things too much. But even watching him in spring ball, I'm like, this guy is going to be a problem next season. And he's talked to me a lot about the things that, he's really worked on this offseason and has focused on. And I think since he's really harped on those things, if we see those things out in the field on Friday nights this season, man, oh man, it's going to be a scary matchup for defensive backs. I did want to shout out one wide receiver on Perry that didn't get mentioned on either the team, but did play in Flight Club and has had a good summer. Max Windle-Schaefer, I think, is a guy that's really stood out to me. Another guy that's made, huge improvements in this game, and I think he'll be a key playmaker for Perry offensively next season as well. And he had a couple grabs at Flight Club.
Amos Augustine also absolute stud, but I think he got hurt or something like that.
Yeah, well, so Amos has been. I heard he had been, kind of going between a little bit of an injury sort of all summer, and just rehabbing, and also wanting to play in camps as well, and stuff like that. I don't know why Donovan Dixon's trying to call me right now, but
Donovan Dixon's probably heated right now. That's the kid that for sure deserved. Like that was one of the tough conversations that that I was having with myself. I think Donovan Dixon is an absolute dog, and was one of the best quarterbacks out there. Super special kid. I've watched him all camp season.
Yeah,
there have been few quarterbacks better than him. Committed to NAU, but and
Donovan is going to put up some big numbers this season, and I don't think people are ready for as big of a numbers as he is going to put up. I hate to make, I don't like to make comparisons too often, but I think we could expect, the same level that Devin Dampier played in his senior year at Saguaro. I think that those sort of numbers, I made sure to put, Devin's senior numbers and Donovan's senior numbers right next to each other at the end of the year and see how they match up. Because I look at them and they're honestly really, really similar in size, speed, just all their other abilities as well.
That would be a great thing to track throughout the season. That would be a great thing to track. I think that Donovan's super special, one of the most gifted football athletes out there, and that's another kid like. I already had Jai Jones. Donovan was another kid that I was thinking about just because of his competitive nature. That's a kid that I definitely want because, that's if originally me and Blair were going to go with 3 quarterbacks and 9 players on each side, but we just wanted to shrink this thing down. And Donovan was one that I was thinking about because I have seen Donovan on multiple occasions say, "Hey, you know what? Put me in at safety. Let me show you that I can do this on both sides of the ball and make plays that way too," which I always found so fascinating. And me and Huffman and Blair all love that about him. The competitive nature of a kid really goes a long way. Anyway, I'll let you continue.
For sure. No, for sure. And I think, not just his safety, I think you could slot him in at running back or even at wide receiver, even if it's just, running bubble screens or RPOs or something like that. I'd love to see. Yeah, he's definitely a quarterback. But like you said, he has the ability to play at that kind of position. If it was a sevens and it was like, hey, put me in, coach, sort of situation.
It's crazy.
What's up?
Versatility is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Defensively, the strides I've seen in Naseem Eason's game this offseason has really been great, and seeing him develop as a player and just the more recruitment attention he's getting, I think is very much deserved. Jalen Sterling Flores, this is a kid that is probably going to be the number 1 or number 2 defensive back in his class by the time he gets to his senior year. And obviously one of the most underrated linebackers in the state, Eli Kramer Cronin. I can't say enough good things about this kid, and I can't say enough of how much New Mexico is getting a steal out of Eli Kramer Cronin. And because you look at him now and then think about what he's going to look like in 2 years. And it's like, this kid is really going to be a built out, really strong physical football player. So I'm really excited to see his development, and defensively, I think those are some of the guys stood out to me the most. Obviously, Mykael Davis, I think out of Blair's group has, all these guys have the potential to play on Sunday someday, but I think Mykael is the guy to me that could very quickly on in his career be an NFL starter if he keeps developing the way he is right now.
Okay, so you don't like my picks of Jai Jones and Noah Roberts? I understand.
No, I do.
No, it's all good.
Well, we were talking about defense.
Cool.
I said defense.
Cool. No big deal. It's cool.
I complimented you for taking Noah Roberts when I thought you were going to let him slip, because this is another guy that's going to be an NFL player. And I read something today. I forget where I read it, but it said something like, would not be surprising to see high school teams pass the ball a lot more this season because of the influence sevens has had versus, what you're seeing in the college era nowadays, which is a lot more teams are actually running the ball than passing the ball. So it's this weird sort of thing between high school and college football. But I think Basha, the one thing they've done in particular, which, by the way, I also have to shout out Basha for having a perfect summer. That is super rare. And something that absolutely has to be recognized.
Did they in winning ASU, U of A, and NAU
and Flight Club? No, they didn't go to NAU.
And Flight Club, in winning the 3 tournaments, did they lose any games?
They didn't lose a single game. That's what I'm saying. Like, we talk about how much there's talk about people are like, you got to put the pads on, you got to see how things play out.
You do.
But when you have a team that's that dominant, like you can't ignore the fact that this team is going to be one of the top teams in the state next season. Though they, might not have as much depth in the trenches as most of the other top teams do in the state. But I think you've got to look at their success and just say there's no reason why this team won't be an open division team next season.
For sure. Okay, so looking at the defense, you like Blair's defense more than you like mine. Okay, got it. I
think so, but I think your offense, because you have so many stretch guys, right? Jai Jones, Aiden Whitaker, who's really played a lot more defensive back with McClintock, but also Suarez leading receiver last year. Obviously, Mark Jackson. And you got 2 dudes that are just, give you deep bombs left and the right, Brody Veers and Marcel Jones. So
I just think it's weird that you don't like my picks of Trey Knox and Gunnar Perry, but it's cool.
I said I like Trey Knox.
I know, but you just don't like them as much as you like Blair's picks. It's all good. But Look, we're cool. We're cool. We're cool. We're cool. We're cool. I'm just gonna
Oh,
let you have
man.
that conversation with Trey because I know he's gonna jump in your DMs too in a minute here. So you think that Blair's wide receivers are gonna get my guys? Listen, listen. You know what I'm really curious about? Some of these picks that I made. I'm wondering what you thought of the Mark Jackson from Tempe, obviously. The Skylar Ormita from Chandler, and also the Julian Alekpavi from Maryvale. I'm not sure how much you really got to see them, but what were your thoughts on some of those picks that I made?
Yeah, I haven't gotten to watch a whole lot of Julian, although I've heard a lot about him, and obviously you talking about him and selecting him. I'm really excited to see, what kind of film he puts on this season. And you know, just yeah, really just interested to see what he looks like as a playmaker. Sorry, Lasse, who were the other two guys you threw out there?
The Mark Jackson pick that I made
Yeah.
from Tempe. Also, I'll let you get into that one. And
Yeah, we kind of talked about that one a little bit, but really excited to see, how I think, just reiterating what I said, I think that he can be the playmaker that takes Tempe to this next level in 4A this season.
And Skylar Ormita finally.
Skylar Ormita, I mean, he might be one of the best slot receivers in the state next season, just because he's so sneaky and quick. He'll come into areas you won't even expect him coming, and then boom, he's right there to make the catch. I think his route running is so pristine. And shout out Jaden Chavez too.
One of my guys,
killing it.
one of my defensive guys that you hate. So,
But yeah, Skylar, I never said that. But Skylar Ormita, I think just fits Ty Wisdom's offense perfectly and what they're running. And most of the touchdowns I saw him score were just these little, quick outs or sort of just quick hitches. And I think when you have a guy like that can run those quick routes as fast as he can, that's gonna get you a lot of yards and hopefully some touchdowns in the season.
All right. Hey, listen, Beadle, I know that you left Flight Club super late. You had the breakdown and all that stuff like that. What did you get to eat before you got home? Did you stop?
I will tell you what. I will tell you what. That snow cone that I had from Kona Ice might have been the greatest food item to ever just pass my mouth ever. After standing in the sun we were there since 11 a.m. So my neck is peeling right now, but just being out in the sun all day, there's nothing better than being done at the end of the day and going, I want a snow cone. And I'll tell you what, it hit the spot. I had to go back and buy another because I was just like, I just need more snow cone. So I know all the sugar, yada, yada, yada. I didn't really care. Had some snow cone. I think I went to bed at 3:30. By the time I got home and showered and in bed, I had an Uncrustable, some Doritos, and a bunch of water, and I call it a night.
Hey, Adam, being the young guy that covers Flight Club, you're about as old as most of the kids that are playing in Flight Club. So you have that youthful energy and excitement about it, and you are the official host. Some of the cool things culture-wise that you feel like Flight Club has added to the high school scene from your point of view.
I really feel like this was the most energetic Flight Club we've ever had, just in terms of the teams coming into it. And I would say the response from the community. I think there were a lot of people at Flight Club this weekend that weren't really, affiliated with a certain team, that just wanted to come and watch because of how many great athletes we have in this state and how cool it is to just see them compete on a super big stage. So that, to me, just seeing, obviously seeing the teams compete and get chippy and get into it is one thing, but seeing them and I don't know, there was at one point, I think it was Perry playing someone else, and they scored a touchdown, and they started coming over and celebrating with the Basha kids that were standing behind the quarterback. That's awesome. And I was like, you're not going to see that anywhere else except for Flight Club, because the reality of it is most of these kids and these teams, the Scottsdale area, the Chandler Gilbert area, the Peoria area, like most of these kids have known each other for years and have played, whether it's club ball, Pee Wee, Pop Warner, like these kids have played each other, or their families know each other, or there's something like, oh, he's my second brother's cousin, something like that. Like, I think the players in this community are a lot closer than people that aren't so engraved in it know. And it's just so cool to see, like even at a like even just seeing like the quarterbacks who are constantly competing with each other, just catching up and talking, and like even Brody and Donovan, just seeing them talk with one another, and just even the teams that are rivals, it's just it's so cool to just see these kids just not only they're competing, but they're just having a good time. They're having fun. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And a lot of these days, and I'm just being honest, a lot of these days, that one important thing gets overlooked the most.
For
Is
sure.
at the end of the day, like, we're all here to just have fun and compete and just love each other. And I think that sometimes gets forgotten, but an event like Flight Club, it's very evident how much everybody just wants to come out and have fun.
Hey, two things before I let you go. Some of what I felt like were some big storylines that people were talking about. For the first time ever, Flight Club invited a CAA team, Coach Strong and his AZ Compass Dragons, CAA champions, and he fought hard to
Mhm.
convince me to invite him, and I gave them the opportunity. There's that. There's the Carter brothers returning with Maryvale and bringing Maryvale to Flight Club. A lot of people were kind of surprised that they would do that, and they wanted all competition for their kids, and they did that. Coach Ducey taking over Fairfax, bringing his
Yeah.
boys. The two Tempe schools in the Final Four, big storyline there, and for the first time ever, Chandler entering Flight Club and doing their thing, making their way all the way to the championship after their accident and all that stuff. Which storyline like kind of took your attention the most?
Yeah, I mean, whether Mark and Marcus want to deny it or not, they're probably the biggest celebrities out there on the field on Saturday. It was just so cool to see, you know. I saw pictures all over Twitter of them taking pictures with Ortiz and with McCabe, and just seeing them receive such a warm welcome back, just made me happy because I think it shows them how much we truly did miss having them in the state of Arizona last year. And so it's just so good to have them back and to have them engraved in the game once again. And obviously the two teams, McClintock and Tempe, were, I was trying my best to keep up with the bracket as it went on. We were doing our broadcast. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, who's next? Who we got next? And then I'm like, oh man, Tempe and McClintock made it. And, that was great. And we were able to catch the end of that Casa Grande McClintock game, which was really cool. That game was good. And so we enjoyed watching that game. I enjoyed watching that game. But yeah, I think those two, stick out the most. Just then again, goes back to just the community and how exciting Flight Club can be.
Hey, Tempe Union, Desert Vista wins the Make Your Name Monday challenge by rolling everybody. Obviously, the two guys in the Final Four, like Tempe Union, back, like they back, right? Like,
I mean, I
it's
guess
official?
is that what that means? I guess is what that means.
Okay.
There's been a long history of the teams that make it far in Flight Club tend to do pretty well, during the season. So I think that's a good omen for both of those two teams.
For sure. Hey, before I let you go, we got Coach Justin over here chiming in from Chandler. Chili Head, Giant Sky, open all day. Well, that's not what Adam thinks because Adam loves Blair's defense, so he doesn't think that my guys can get open. So there's that. But anyways, Adam Beadle, the young creative, the official host of Flight Club. Listen, you took this thing from flop to fire. I put that out in the tweet. We struggled bad 3 years ago. We struggled. it was a bad time. You were
Yeah.
super frustrated and angry and stuff. And it's the only time that I've actually seen you frustrated and angry at the same time. And then last year you finally got that thing launched, and then this year I think you took it to another level. Before I let you go, I'm just curious. You having that ability to give back to the community in a visible sense for what some people think is a Super Bowl, a 7-on-7. It's got to be a good feeling. Listen, you always say prayer works. And I'm always the one praying, like, please let the broadcast work. Please let the broadcast work. Lord, please let the broadcast work. So you finally figured this thing out. What's it like for you to be able to give back in that sense?
Well, first I gotta say none of the broadcasts in any way, shape, or form is possible without the help of my dad, Rob Beadle, who just stepped up and knows that this is just really, really for me and the community. He kind of does that sort of thing for a living. And so just to have him step up and really just want to help out is huge, really, really huge. This year, we've had battles with this thing every year. It seems like there's always something that goes wrong, but then at the same time there's always something that magically goes right. And that's why I say prayer works, because at the end of the day it's all leaving it to God, all letting him just be like, hey, this is gonna work out, trust it. And so we actually we were feeling so good about shout out Jaden Jamerson too. This kid's balling, and he was on my list too of one of the underdogs. But we were out there, we were feeling super confident, like, oh yeah, this thing's gonna run, it's gonna be great. And our AC inside our truck and goes out. And for anybody that knows, like, if you're in a truck with a bunch of computer equipment and batteries that gets super hot, that is like the biggest nightmare. And so that set us back, an hour or two of where we originally were. And so we're scrambling, we're getting new stuff together, trying to, figure out what to do. At the same time, we had some other people that were coming in to help us out, and their flights were like getting delayed. They were stuck in Vegas, and it was like this whole thing. And we were like, oh man. And I think the biggest blessing in disguise of all of this was what you and Chris were talking about earlier. We had one game that got pushed back till about 6:45 or so, and it magically happened to be on field 2, which was the field that we were broadcasting. And those about 12 to 13 minutes that pushed the tournament back saved our butt. So that to me, if you don't see God working in that moment, it's just like, man, like that's just the perfect plan. So grateful for obviously for you for allowing us to do this and just to be a part of this. And I think it's just great. And obviously, this whole broadcast sports journalism thing, like, this is what I love to do. And so to be able to do something like this the last couple of years, I think this year was finally the year we cracked the code, and really put together something great. And I did want to throw this out too for the teams that were on our broadcast. I will be cutting up your games individually and sending them to you at some point. You will be getting them, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, it's been such a surreal ride and experience, and I'm so grateful that this is how I could be a part of this event in this capacity.
All right. Hey, Beadle, I really appreciate you. Beetlejuice going to make more features on Philly's two-piece throughout the season as we cover a variety of things. So I'm grateful that you are going to lend some of your knowledge to me. There's going to be changes with the two-piece, just like we're going to figure out this whole flight club thing. But Beadle, I am going to let you go, get some sleep, continue to rest up, because I know that you've been super active this spring and this summer. So try to hibernate a little bit. And I'll catch you down the line, all right?
Sounds great. Thanks, Chili.
All right, take care. an absolutely insane show where I guess jump into the multiverse of media and do some things that are super unprecedented. But I want to shout out my guest, Adam Beadle, the young creative that's been doing a whole bunch of things out there for all the schools and showing love to all the kids and the teams and stuff like that. Also helped with the girls selection show for Flight Club. And today I forgot to bring it up to him. His internet working so much better. So thank you everybody for contributing and cracking on him a little bit. 8-bit Beadle is gone, and 4K Beadle is back. So we are super grateful that we got 4K Beadle back. But also want to show love to my guy Gridiron. Without him, making this event so cool. Adding the official numbers guy was a big step for me, and a big step for Flight Club. And then Blair, he's been at almost every one. I think he only missed one. But he's done a great job helping to cover the event, and I'm just grateful that he was willing to jump on the show and break down some walls and stuff like that and draft against me. So I'm gonna put up a graphic. I'm gonna let people vote. Let's have some fun with this, be constructive. Were there some snubs? Absolutely. There were a bunch of them. Something like this is so difficult. So incredibly difficult, and especially at that quarterback position. I don't want to say the biggest one or whatever, but Donovan Dixon is a quarterback that I've watched for a couple years now, camps and all that stuff, and the trajectory of his growth has been absolutely insane, and one of the biggest ones out there. So there's that. Your boy Chili, I'm gonna make my way out of here because I gotta try to get some sleep and stuff like that. And I will be in touch with everybody. I want to shout out my guy Devin Fitzgerald, who's gonna be committing sometime soon. Hopefully, I can get him on the show, chop it up, talk about wherever he's committing to. I think that I might be wrong, but I think I chose like UCLA, and I could be very, very wrong with that. Beadle's going to remind me because we did discuss that. So we'll see what happens. Super excited for Devin, known him for a long time. So I think that, he's going to make a great decision wherever it is. I want to say I had UCLA Notre Dame, but I'm not sure now. So there's that. Your boy Chili, I am going to make my way out of here. At Just Chili, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Also make sure that you guys tap in Flight Club 7v7 on Twitter or X or whatever, and on Instagram, and then also Just Chili TV, TikTok, YouTube, all that stuff. Find all the interviews, things like that. Find out where you were drafted and all the nice things that me and Blair said. Other than that, forks up. Y'all know the deal.